Hello everyone, I'm Hafiz.
And I'm Parkson.
We are the fathers behind the podcast
We are Dads Too.
We discuss everything from being an effective father to a good co-parent to our spouse.
We also have guests and experts on our show to talk about the different aspects of fatherhood. Come and join us to discover more about our experiences as fathers because
We are Dads Too. Click on the link below to follow us on Spotify.
Hi Hafiz, we're
Hi,
back again.
Paksan. Yes.
All right, today's topic is going to be interesting also. We're talking about dads in progress.
Yeah, that's my flagship actually. I was
Is it so? Why do you
yeah.
say that?
No, I was introduced in the introduction to the podcast at the beginning as a dad in progress.
That's right.
So-
You're the one who said it. Yes. Yeah. So tell me, let's go back to the beginning. How did you feel? How ready did you feel when you first became a father?
Well, I can say that I was thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Or pushed in?
No, I think I
You jumped in.
Yeah, I
You
jumped in. Nobody
yes.
pushed me. I realized that I jumped myself into this deep end of the pool, and I have to learn how to swim myself.
That's right. I think the feeling is mutual here. Correct. I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember how I felt. But becoming a father, if you ask me why did I choose to become a father, I think it's just what we have been so used to, right? You grow up, you study, you do your best in school, you get good qualifications, you go and look for a job as good as possible. You keep looking for better jobs until you feel you're financially stable, secure, and then you try to move on to the next stage of life. Hopefully, in the process, you have fallen in love, and then you kind of plan for your marriage. And then after you are married, the next natural step is to be a father.
Yeah, as much as a natural step, to some of us it can be an accident. What do you think?
Yes, okay. That's kind of the unplanned child, right?
Mm.
Or I mean, in other cases, it's even before they got married, a guy and a girl, they have relationships, and then the girl gets pregnant, so the guy becomes a father. I've known some such couples, and interestingly, some of the guys actually, were willing to step up and take responsibility and says, okay, I will be the father of this child. And, they began to learn and, how to be a father and things like that. So I really admire, give them great respect for that, stepping up and being a, responsible person and saying, okay, if I created this, then I will take responsibility for it and I will try to, do my best.
Yeah, but generally, either you are ready, you have planned, or it was an accident. It still remains. Right? Most dads or most father, when they first see the child, at the first day, most of them are not trained.
Mm-hmm.
They are not given any kind of coaching.
Yes.
Or even sometimes of examples. All right, good examples of being a father. All right, so that's why I believe that most of us, if not all, have to go through being a father, all right, on our own, and learn along the way. So that's why I call myself that get in progress. Although I have 4 kids, 3 already in their 20s, 1 is still in their teens, but it's always a learning process for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think very interestingly, when couples get married, more so today than before, more and more couples are taking up marriage preparation programs, courses, all right? Because they're entering a very new phase of life and they don't want to go in unprepared. And especially because of the very frightening rates of divorce in Singapore. And so many couples are motivated to do that. But I think we have yet to see the day where these couples will attend a course before they become parents. All right, many of them attend some kind of a workshop for parenting workshop only after they become parents, and so on. So I think it would be very good if more parents can start to learn deliberately, intentionally before they actually become parents. And I think that would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, I support that. I mean, there's a need for us to have some kind of a father or parent preparation course.
Yes.
At the same time, I believe that along the way, it is those moments of learning moments, those moments that you are prepared to listen for advice, those moments that you reflect. All right, okay, at this particular problem or challenge, who do I go to for help? So it's not just a classroom setting. You learn how to do fathering or do parenting. Is that I think the social support that you get or you have actually at your disposal is there actually. People either they have expertise in child development or parenting or even relationship, but they also your own parent, friends, colleagues that can form a support structure for you. So it's about making use of all these opportunities to learn.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think, learning the theory through a workshop or even reading a book is one thing. It makes it, books can make it sound very easy until you try to put them to practice and you realize, oh, it's not that easy, there are many, many factors, different people having different personalities that affects how you try to put into practice some of the things that the books are teaching. So coaching is helpful. A coach will take all these factors into consideration and then guide you through it. All right. And then you will find more success as you try to prepare them. I hope to see one day, that all couples will be somehow equipped, at least to know what they are getting themselves into. And the thing here is that you cannot attend one course, one workshop, all right, at the beginning and think that you are equipped for the rest of your lives, right? Because we are always a new father, we are always a new parent. When you have a newborn, you're a new father. And when your child becomes 1 year old, you are the first time father of a 1 year old. And then when your child becomes 2 years old, you are a first time father of a 2 year old, and so on and so forth. And then when you have a second child, you're a first time father of 2 kids. So there's always something new to learn. So we cannot assume that just because I've attended one workshop, I'm okay for the rest of my life.
So it must be about lifelong learning, right? I mean,
That's
this
right.
often used so-called phrase. But actually, for fathers or for dads, it's even more relevant. All right, that every stage of your child's life, all right, you're learning something. You need to apply according to the situation, to the growth of the child, development of the child. And you have multiple childs. I mean, you have several childs. You probably try and error. For the first child this worked. They didn't work, and therefore for the second child, I try differently. Right, so that's another way of looking at it. So, but the other one is I think about the changing roles of fathers. I mean, the traditional role versus the modern role. All right. I mean, this is your pet topic. You wrote a book on it. But I thought, generally speaking, since the time in memoriam until today, the role of a father hasn't really changed. I mean, the role of father is seen as, for example, the main guardian, the educator role. Either you talking about in the general sense of the word, all right. Especially we talk about how you want your child to grow up as, his or her character, how you want them to be, and how you are actually a role model for them. I mean, it's a natural role model for them. And I think it shows today, research shows that an involved father or an involved dad will contribute to the healthy growth of a child. Right? I mean, that hasn't changed. That has been the reality since traditional way times and today.
That's right. This whole fathering movement actually started off after the Second World War, when many of the kids have lost their father, all right, fathers in the war. And so they have kind of been raised in a single family, and usually it's a single mother. And therefore, they began to see, notice that certain things are happening because of fatherlessness. So the studies began to find, to go into this area of fatherlessness. What's the impact of fatherlessness in the life of a child? Okay. And so that's where it all started. Now, what they simply did was saying, if a child without a father, all right, has a higher chance of living in poverty and therefore entering into a life of crime, and then taking drugs, substance abuse, and for a girl it will be teenage sex and pregnancy. They just simply assume that the opposite is true. So if a child has a father at home, then all these things will not happen. Okay. Now I don't think it's wrong to assume that. Okay, it's just that there was no research done until later, when more and more fathers became more wanting to become more involved in their children's lives, and they noticed that yes, there are changes, there are impacts, and therefore, right now we can say for sure that fathers who are involved in their children's life, being present and actively involved, children benefit. Okay, and that's why we're having this whole topic about fathering and encouraging fathers to be active. But I think there is a hurdle in the minds, at least, of fathers. Are we, am I able to do what mothers do? You see, because traditionally mothers do all the nurturing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the fathers are the ones who bring home the money, do the disciplining of the children, and passing on traditions and values, and that's about it. And everything else is left to the mother. So now men feel that we are expected to do what mothers used to do. Can I do it? And for a long time we have been told there's such a thing called maternal instinct. Do I have the maternal instinct? Do men, fathers, have the maternal instinct? What do you think?
I think all of us are created different, men and women. However, there's certain parts of us which are similar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, men have feelings.
That's right.
Men need to understand their own feelings such that they can understand other people's feelings. So unless you can understand your own feeling as a person, you will not be able to understand other people's feelings. So although maternal instinct is more apparent in mothers due to the nature, all right? I mean, the brain is wired differently, the body is built differently, all right? I mean, as you said, men cannot, breastfeed a child, but they can do other things, and they can learn how to take up some of the responsibility that traditionally, expected of a woman. As much as today in the modern world, the industrial, post-industrial world, women are expected to be to play some economic role to the family due to the changing needs. Men, therefore, due to the changing needs of children today, they are more multifaceted in their development. The demands of today is more than before, right? And changing, and therefore men should play that role that used to be only women are expected to, and likewise, all right, for women, playing that role of a man, economic perspective or related something related to that. Yeah.
Yep. I agree what you said. I think men needs to step up. I got good news for men, and that is fathers can mother, except in one area, which is breastfeeding. Nature has helped us get ready for fathering. Let me tell you why. Science tells us that when a man, when he goes into puberty, his level of testosterone starts to increase. But then when he realizes that he's going to be a father, it starts to drop. Now, testosterone basically helps a man become more manly, become more aggressive, building muscles, and his voice will change, his body will change, and things like that. But when he learns that he's becoming a father, the level starts to drop. Which means, by nature itself, biology itself, is helping him, position him to become more nurturing. You see? And then he can now begin to help nature. At first, nature helps him. Now he helps nature by actually putting his hand into the job. All right? So when the child is born, if the father now begins to get involved in childcare activities and tasks like bathing the child, changing the diaper for the child, carrying the child, feeding the child, and just playing with the child, that skin-to-skin contact, interaction actually makes him even more nurturing, and that's how we get started. And that's why the first few days or weeks of fatherhood, it's so important. And thankfully today, paternity leave is 2 weeks. How long was yours when you were a father?
Oh, it's been some time. It's about there, yeah. I mean, lesser than that.
I
Few
remember it was
days.
just 2
Yeah,
days.
yeah. You're right. You're right. No, it's 2 weeks, huh?
2 weeks, you
Wow.
see? And therefore, I'm always, at Center for Fathering, and I'm always encouraging fathers, take that 2 weeks. All right, take it, I mean, during my time, we only had 2 days, and 2 days goes by like vapor, Firstly, your wife is having labor pains, you admit her into the hospital. That's already 1 day. And by the time she leaves the hospital, it's already 2 days, and that's it. Okay.
This is indeed a good news for fathers, right? But on the flip side, there's also the bad news. Not bad news, but negative, or something that you're not aware of. While people are aware of postnatal depression
Mhm.
for women, but for men, apparently there is no such thing.
Oh yes, there
Men
is.
also experience postnatal depression. I mean, due to that biological change, contributing to it partly, but also the fact that as a new person is coming to their life, there's a lot of things that go into the mind.
Mm,
What the changing role, the changing expectations,
that's right.
and the fact that now I have someone in front of me who needs me rather than my job, my own parents in the past, and so on and so forth. So again, not be able to cope
Mhm.
would be detrimental to the man's health, and therefore the need for us, all right, as fathers, to seek help.
Mm.
I think the thing is about men sometimes, due to our nature again, we are the bedrock, we are the male figure. We tend not to
We're the strong ones.
the strong ones. We tend not to go be aware of a soft side. I think there's a need for men to realize that there's nothing wrong asking for help. There's nothing wrong to realize that you are lacking in certain aspect, and therefore you need to upgrade. You need to learn and change. And therefore, I think the question is very important. When I was a father for the first time, there was no such support most of the time, or I
Mhm.
don't realize that there are actually opportunities for support.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. The paternal, they call it paternal postpartum depression. It means for the fathers. It is very real as the maternal one for mothers. It's just underreported, underreported because most men do not recognize it as postpartum depression. They will just call it, and explain it away by saying, "Oh, I'm just having a bad day. I'm just tired," but actually, in many cases, it could be depression. So again, it's education, and it's what society is telling us, or what we're picking up from society, that only women suffer these kind of things. Men do not have, and so therefore they don't have the language, the label for it, and therefore they do not call it postpartum depression. And it all begins, mostly is triggered by the lack of sleep. And for new fathers and new mothers, that's the number one thing, a lack of sleep. And then what studies has also found is it usually happens for the men. It usually happens a little bit later, around a 6-month period and onwards. You see, so because for the first few months, the father is focused on supporting the wife and of course trying to handle the baby. All right, and for the mother, they will go through. If they go through depression, it will be for the early part of the new stage of parenthood, and then after that, the man kind of it hits the man, the new responsibility financially and all that. Then the man kind of gets really hits rock bottom, and yes, they need to find help. So we need to create more awareness on this subject. Otherwise, it will affect their interaction with their child. Do you know that this depression can be passed on to the infant?
I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
Passed on in the sense of, infants, because they don't speak, right?
Mm.
All right. They don't have the language. So what they rely on is the sensing.
Yeah.
So when someone with depression is near you and looking you in the face and trying to, interact with you, the baby will pick up those senses, the vibes,
right.
and it affects the mood of the child. And if this happens consistently, it can affect the child, in a more long-term manner. And so the child might even, have a different kind of personality as a result of that. So we need to watch out for this, and we need to correct it as soon as possible.
Yeah, related to this, it's good that this is mentioned, because the child having an effect from the father's emotions and experience. Thus, the importance once you go into this so-called changed role from a couple, just having husband, wife, and then now being a parent, that transition means also transition or change in prioritizing. All right, so definitely we need to reprioritize. Now there's an additional person in the family, and that reprioritization sometimes leads to tension between, for example, you used to, for example, have your own parents to take care. Actually, when they are growing old, you need to take care of them as well. In your journey as a parent. Second is your career. I mean, usually, if you got married, in the late 20s or even early 30s, you're at your peak of your career or even at the beginning of career. There's a need for you to focus on your career. And now with a baby coming in, with a child coming in, there must be some alignment. I mean, we're talking about the harmonizing work life and so on and so forth. Unless that is done, again, that will be the tension will always pull yourself apart in terms of your child's interest, your family interest, and your work interest. And I experienced that because I when I started work, I was not married yet. I had to travel a lot, and then I realized that having by the time I had my second child, I realized I have to stop the traveling and do something local. All right, but that doesn't help because again, due to the nature that I want to achieve my career goal, it becomes something that very stressful. Yeah.
Did you feel like you're making a sacrifice?
Yeah, in a way, the word sacrifice comes a lot. Is it about sacrificing or is it about
doing the right thing?
Doing the right thing, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it should be about sacrificing your career versus your child. It's about how do you harmonize the two. It's not easy, but that process has to start somewhere.
Yeah. No, I bring it up because if we are honest with ourselves, I think we felt that it was a sacrifice, and it's understandable if we even feel resentful about it. Why must I do this? All right, and then we turn that resentment towards the child. Right, and we might not say it, but we feel it. We feel it. And if we are honest, we feel it, and we say, because of you, I couldn't achieve the goals career-wise, or even for my own personal life, the goals that I've set for myself. You see, I'm sure a lot of fathers feel that way, but they also feel that I shouldn't feel this way. I they feel guilty for feeling this way, but I think it's okay to be honest and deal with it. As once you have found that this is true about yourself, we just deal with it. Okay, and I think fathering is not something it's not just a list of do's and don'ts or duties that we perform. Fathering is it's a relationship. It's a new relationship with someone that is brought into this world by you. And we relationship takes time. Relationship, we have this opportunity to begin right from the start all the way. And today a lot of old folks feel abandoned by their children. Okay, and in Singapore we have this thing about the Maintenance of Parents Act. You see, so I've heard many stories where these old elderly parents would apply, go to the council and says, "Now my children are not giving me any money to support me." All right, and then the council would talk to the kids, and the kids, many of them would say, "But he was not there when I was young." You see. And the parents will scratch their head, the fathers especially. "What do you mean I wasn't there? I worked so hard. To provide for all that you needed. You see, and today when I have needs, you do not, help me at all." I think this is where the two just missed each other. All right. Fathers in those days and maybe even today see that love means provision, but children, what they want from their parents which is love, but comes in a different form. All right, they wanted the fathers especially, to be there with them, not just the money and not just the gifts and the presents, for the birthdays and whatnot. Okay, so there's a different definition, perspective from both sides, and therefore they're missing each other. So if we can learn from that, the history, then likely we will not repeat it.
Yeah. Following from you reminding us the importance of relationship, right? Focusing on the relationship. Yeah, I think we sometimes focus more on the material things. So to me, the baseline of parenthood, of fatherhood, has to be relationship. I think that has
Mm-hmm.
to be kept as sacred. I mean, when you talk about prioritizing your role, or what I mean, different roles of a father since the traditional time and today, modern, is still about relationship. That has to be the ongoing and everlasting factor of being a father.
That's right.
It has to start from there and ends there. Otherwise, as you said, you grow old, and you set the wrong future,
Mm-hmm.
for your children and also for yourself. All right, and the cycle, continues and continues. So I thought, maybe one last point before, I mean, maybe later we can summarize what we have discussed. I did mention about the life wheel in one of our
Mm-hmm.
talks. I was thinking about another type of wheel, because keep it simple, four aspects of life, basic aspects. I thought SEMP would lead, would be a good guide for me at least. S means spiritual, E means emotional, M means mental, and P means physical. So the wholesome aspect of us, if you put in again the spoke as this four as a spoke of a bicycle, of a wheel, you measure how much you are, how many points you get for each of these spoke. For S, is
Mm-hmm.
it 1 to 10? Is it 5? For E, is it 4? And so on and so forth. And see whether there is a balance.
Okay, whether the wheel is perfectly round
Yeah,
or
and
not. Mm.
and not
Okay,
a jagged, such that you cannot run smoothly as a wheel.
that's right.
All right,
Okay.
because if the spoke is shorter, one, and the other one is longer, you may
Mm-mm.
be able to have a smooth wheel. So I thought if we evaluate our own role, generally speaking, all right, as this SEMP, and then we adjust. If we are more giving the physical role, material wise, maybe you should give more attention to the other role, the emotional role,
Mm.
where the relationship is really at.
Yep.
That will give us a guide of where we are and what are the areas that we should improve on.
SEMP, spiritual, emotional. M is for
Mental,
mental, and P is for physical. All right, easy to
yeah.
remember. Okay. Yep. So today we are talking about that's in progress, and basically, I think what we're trying to say is that we cannot enter into this role unprepared, unequipped. I have this saying that women are more prepared for motherhood than men are for fatherhood. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a matter of how you were brought up. For example, girls usually play with dolls,
that's right.
houses, cooking. Men will play with action figures,
Mm-hmm.
cars.
Yeah,
And those things.
yeah. Soldiers, what do you call that? Construction sets, electrical sets, chemistry sets, and all these point towards one thing, and that's career and profession, you see,
Yeah.
because through that, society again is telling us that what's more important for you guy, for you boy, when you grow up, one day you're going to be a father, what will be most important is a job, because your duty is to provide for your family,
Yeah.
you see. And for the women, it's different. The women, for girls, they play with girl dolls, doll houses, cooking sets, and all that. All these are part and parcel of kind of preparing them for the role of motherhood. And if the first child is a girl, the girl is the firstborn in that family, most likely she will be asked to help with, little household chores, and maybe, babysitting the younger child, the sibling, and things like that. All these are training for motherhood. So therefore, most girls enter motherhood more prepared than men. Okay, so now it's time to kind of change the things. Now it's time for men to be more prepared. Boys, for example, I'm going to say something really radical, and that is,
Yes,
would you be
please.
okay, if you have a 2-year-old right now, okay, to let your 2-year-old boy play with dolls?
Well, I used to do that when I was a child myself. I play cooking sets with my sister. I mean, the thing is, I have a sister, so
Correct,
I
right?
tend to gravitate towards this elder sister. She's
Okay.
more okay. I follow what you have already. These toys that you have already. Bought like play. So I remember we play cooking, we play camping.
Oh, no
Having a
one.
house.
That's why you can cook today.
I know I can cook only, according to my wife, fried eggs, and maybe whenever she prepares something, I just fry it
Okay,
or cook it.
I see. Yeah, so fathers need to enter this role better prepared. I have no doubt that fathers have the love. All right, fathers do have the love for their kids. I don't think there's any father who hate their kids. All right, they might be angry, but they definitely don't hate them. What is lacking is the skill. All right, the skill to be a father and be an effective one, be a father the right way. Okay, so I think the preparation and the training and the learning needs to be there, and it needs to continue throughout the whole journey, because we are always a father in progress.
Yeah, and that's why I'm seeing on your T-shirt, Center for Fathering. This is not about promoting or anything, but it's important for us to know that this organization exists, and they do provide. There are not many around.
No, there's only one.
There's only one. They do provide, all right, good courses for you fathers out there, we fathers out there to attend. I've attended myself, and I learned a lot. But more importantly, why, for example, we start this podcast? Because we want to spread the word and get fathers to know other fathers. Hopefully in the future, all right, we can learn from each other more, we can meet each other and make this fathering movement, or this thing about fathering is important role for men to focus on and to develop on. Therefore, we're talking about Dad in Progress. Very important topic. And we will touch about these topics again and again, because, again, there's a lot of ththings to talk about when it comes to fathering.
That's right.
Realized.
That's right. All right. We are running out of time, so we'll save it for the next episode then. Well, till then, we'll say goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye. This podcast is brought to you by Iman Catalyst Community, which is missioned to elevate hope by transforming lives through socio-education initiatives as well as personal development programs. We are the medium that come in between NGOs and their beneficiaries to enhance their sustainability and impact. If you'd like to know more, connect, and collaborate with us, you can reach us at Facebook and Instagram at Iman Catalyst. That's spelled EMAAN. And we would like to work and partner with you.
Thank you so much for tuning to this week's conversation. We hope that this episode helped you in your transformational journey as dads. If you like this podcast, make sure you review, follow, and share it with your friends. For more episodes and resources on fathering, check us out at We Are Dads Too on Facebook and Instagram.
We would also like to hear your comments and questions, so please feel free to share them on our FB and IG pages, and also our Twitter, and be connected to other dads too. Until next time, let's take the next step to be the special dad we are meant to be. Take care and stay safe.